Hi, 10 flight, 6 until 1090.
A phone call came through at 3 o'clock in the morning. Andrew had gone out for the night with friends. It was Christmas time. And he was in Mullingar. And he was the victim of an unprovoked vicious assault. And the final blow lifted him up in the air and he went back on his head. His head hit the pavement. And he died 10 days later in Beaumont Hospital.
Have the courage to stand up for each other. Don't accept inappropriate behaviour. No one will ever think there's something wrong with you that you walk in and treat them like a human being. You'll never be thought less of if you treat each other with respect.
I hit someone outside a bar.
I know we have to say to people, don't get involved in a fight. Maybe my son would be alive today if somebody had shouted stop that night. Maybe it would, the attackers, maybe they would have just stopped from what they were doing.
One of the main pieces of advice we ask people is not to engage with drunk or aggressive people. So if you have a friend that's been attacked, again, it's up to you to shout, scream, to do whatever you can to get help from somebody who's in charge, from a guard, from a security guard, from an adult or a guardian. What we're not condoning is you to go in and go start attacking other people because you don't know what damage you could do. You don't know what damage you could inflict on somebody else. Try as best you can to get you and your friend out of that situation as quickly and as painlessly as possible.
They didn't go out that night to kill anyone, but by using their fist, Andrew is dead.
I've arrested people that have defended themselves using their fists when they didn't need to. And unfortunately, it's not using the fists, I can assure you, in the court of law is the biggest problem. In a court of law, it's why did you do it? Justifying your behaviour. Instinctively, a man or a young man may close their fist to defend themselves. Statistically, a young female may open her hands and turn her body. And I can assure you that that is far more forgiving than that.
Sometimes we are so scared about what other people are going to say. That, oh, I can't believe what happened last night. Why you let that happen? Why are you let that happen? But, you know, at the end of the day, it's not important what people think. The main thing, like I say, make sure you're going back home. Make sure you're going back home. It doesn't matter what your friend's going to say.
But what I would always encourage is don't try and worry about the other person. And you can't control them, but you can control you. You can control what you do, and you can control how you think and how you operate.
Don't make that be your last night on earth, because we're going to have excuses that, hey, he pushed me first, he pushed me, I couldn't let that happen. It's your choice. The reaction is always your choice.
So I wouldn't recommend doing that to anyone, John, because I'm telling you, as a young man, when I did it myself, it's not the right answer. As a policeman, an ex-policeman, it's not the right answer because it can lead to a lot of trouble.
I had a fight after a match.
If someone has started a fight with me, I always have something in mind, is that I have more to lose if I fight. That's the thing. I know I have more to lose. So I'm going to do everything not to fight the person. He's going to look at me like I'm a weak person. It doesn't matter what he's going to do. I will not respond. That's, for me, that's the principle of my life.
The assault wrecked my victim's life, but it also wrecked my future.
Alcohol changes you. You can become sleepy, you can become loving, you can become depressed. That's bad. But you can become aggressive, and if you become aggressive with alcohol, maybe you shouldn't drink.
They're left with the consequences, they're left with the loss because that happened, that horrible night that happened. But it can also have an impact on the person, the offender. It can stop you from travelling, it can stop you from getting a job, it can affect your family, it can affect your communities, all because you didn't use your brain, instead you used your fist.
You have to think of your future, like your parent has given you the trust, their trust and their good family name to go out into Carrick-on-Shannon or into Sligo or wherever you go in the world, and that's what you bring with you. And going forward, when you're looking for gainful employment, your good name and your good character means an awful lot, because everybody is vetted and character checked now. So if you have a criminal conviction where you don't, the caution you protected, the information isn't given, but a criminal conviction definitely will not sit well with a lot of employers or a lot of countries that you want to gain entry for either a holiday or work.
If you're going out, you start to drink and you cannot control yourself. So if you know that you cannot control yourself, don't drink. Because you're going to hurt someone and you didn't mean it. But soon you made the action to hurt someone, you cannot take that back.
I hit him when I was drunk.
It's very difficult at times to have to come to this for what was an unprovoked assault. It was just, you know, Shane was out enjoying himself one night. He was at the Galway races that day. Had a great time. I met him after the races, had a few pints with him, as you do. And then a few hours later we got a phone call to say he was on the ground injured.
Shane was very fit. He was big into cycling and swimming and going to the gym, and like happy-go-lucky 23-year-old at the time.
He'd just bought a new bike for the events, and yeah, he'd hit off. He'd do 50-60k in an evening after work, and you know, that was his thing.
I wanted Shane to survive, but I want Shane back. Not like that he would be here and stuck in lots of time. Like,
at least, as Joan said, he's here, he's with us, and we're well aware of other circumstances where, you know, families aren't so lucky. And you know, we're always grateful that Shane is here and we can come down and have a chat with him and listen to the matches and bang the wall when Liverpool are getting better, when they're 1-0 up and 5 minutes to go and we're roaring at the radio. But you know, it's great to have it. We just hope that someday this madness will stop, that people will stop using their fists and use their brains. As I say, you know, the consequences are tragic, you know, and it's just one moment of madness.
I think it is important to educate people and tell them what can happen. A punch can and does kill.
There is a moment that you can stop this. There is a moment before you throw that fist, before you throw that kick, that you can stop this. And that's why we're saying to engage the brain, to use your brain, not your fist.
He's a great guy, you know, he really was a great guy. He just wouldn't think anyone would want to hurt him. Why would anyone want to hurt my mum?
Use your brain, not your fists.
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 The 3 people that attacked Andrew were only 18, 19 and 20 years of age. And that's the sad thing about it. They weren't thinking about their futures. Andrew's life was robbed from him, but they hadn't considered their futures either. You know, we all became victims that night. Andrew's the biggest victim. He had his future robbed of him. But they're victims of what they did. I'm a victim for the rest of my life because of what they did. So, huge consequences for everybody, just because of a few moments of senseless alcohol-fueled senseless violence.